So before I jump into the questions about the performance that you guys did, can you give me a brief background on who you are, what you do, and your upbringing?
So, hi everybody, I am Zola and I was born in Cape Town. I'm actually the daughter of two Holocaust survivors. My mother, Chayela Rosenthal, was a very well-known Yiddish actress, both in the Vilna ghetto, in the concentration camps, and also in Cape Town and around the world on Broadway. So I have theater in my background. My father was Xavier Piatka, who was also very involved in the Sherita Pleta, the organization for the Holocaust, and a lot of Jewish influencing businesses and organizations. So I have my upbringing in a lot of Yiddishkeit, because Yiddish was spoken at home, and in theater. So I myself am a singer-songwriter. I have a number of CDs out there. I lived in Boston for over 20 years, and that's where my music career really got launched. I also, in Cape Town, was one of the teachers for the Gertrude Haas Music School, and I have a lot of ex-little mini Broadway kids students running around. Since I returned a number of years ago back to Cape Town, I've been doing performance coaching. So I do one-on-one teaching kids how to perform, sing as if they're going on TV or auditions and on stage. And in the middle, I do my songwriting and regular performance. I entertain at the Jewish senior centers. That's it, and do a whole lot of other things in between.
What an incredible legacy to be the daughter of two Holocaust survivors. That is phenomenal. I'm sure that's a badge that you wear with a lot of strength.
I do. I wear my badge of honor, the legacy of my parents and my families, both lost and here. Not a whole lot here, but we're here.
I'm going to jump into, where we are now, which is lockdown. What went through your mind when lockdown was announced and when COVID-19 officially entered South Africa?
So when COVID reared its ugly little head, I was actually still in America when it had just started there. I had gone to a nephew's wedding, and already the fear was mounting, the anxiety. We got to Cape Town, and within 2 weeks of us being back, we went into lockdown. So it was obviously extremely concerning. I do a lot of reading, research into, the WHO, the main sources, to just be informed. It's one of those things. I have a positive attitude generally. The world needs to just come together and deal with the best we can with the situation. For me personally, I observe what I need to do to stay well, to stay healthy, to make sure that others are taken care of, all my loved ones. We're a very strong community, the Jewish community. And in our building, I live in an apartment block, and the majority are Jews and elderly. And so we kind of take care of each other as best we can. I am fine to be locked and confined indoors. I keep myself very well entertained. I'm sad to be missing my students, my kids, but we're doing the best we can on FaceTime. I've done a couple of little lockdown recording, singing performances that I've shared with people. And there's actually one upcoming one that I'm going to be doing with Joffe for all the seniors. And so I'm concerned, I'm watching the news, I'm doing what I can and hoping for the best. It's what we have to go through, and this is how it is, and we have to ride it out.
When I was watching the performance that you guys did on Facebook, when you guys mentioned your neighbor Ivor that lent the keyboard, I was like, that's gotta be Ivor Joffe. We aren't related, but I was in the Herzliya vocal ensemble for many years. I was like, the Jewish world's only so big, I shouldn't be surprised.
So Ivor Joffe in our building did the first balcony lockdown performance. And he couldn't join us for the real one. I can't remember. I think he was on another call, or it was bordering on a Yontif, a Jewish holiday.
Okay. That's funny. I didn't even know you did a performance. That's really awesome to hear. So you mentioned, in your building that there's a lot of elderly and a lot of Jewish people. And I know when you guys performed, you also mentioned, coincidentally, there's a few musical people in your building. Do you want to expand on, the coincidence that there's so many musical people living in your building?
So we have a fabulous coincidence in our building, in our apartment block in Sea Point. We have 3 musicians living in our building, and actually quite a few periphery classical pianists who play really well, who studied hard, some of the other residents, but they don't consider themselves performers. But the 3 in our building are Karen Zoid, myself, and Joffe, who many of you would definitely know.
I think it's so great that you guys just all randomly ended up in the same building. So how did you guys get the idea to perform on your rooftop?
So what happened was, Iva had done his balcony performance a couple weeks before. I had done one, but I did it just from my living room and posted that online. And then we were walking around our building in the grounds, in the perimeter, and Carien and I would sometimes walk together, keeping our social distance. And she said to me, I think I want to do a performance soon, and I'm thinking of doing it on the rooftop because we have a magnificent roof on top of our building, and maybe it's sunset. And would you like to join? Let's do something together. Let's do a number or 2 together. And I went, absolutely.
Sounds amazing. I wish I was involved for that whole conversation that you guys had. So when I saw the video, it was absolutely beautiful, but it was quite an elaborate setup. How long did it take you guys to set everything up? Did you have to go and ask the body corporate for permission? What was the setup process like?
So what happens in our building, I was a trustee for quite a few years and my husband was chairman, but not at this moment. And we had a brief chat with a couple of the trustees to say, can we do something up there? Can Karen do? She was effectively, planning this for her performance. And permission was granted with obviously the precautions set in place, the lockdown rules, keeping social distance. Carien has a permit to have a small crew with her because she does TV performances. And so she had her crew of 3, I think it was 3 people, all masked and sanitized. And they took a couple of hours up there in the afternoon setting up, because of social distancing, because of the logistics. And then in the last moment, I came up to join once she had already set up. So it was a mission, but she thankfully had her crew, so she was able to do the good sound and the good lighting out there, although the sun and the sunset provided that.
I love how phenomenal it looked. It makes sense that it took quite a long time to set everything up, because it was really the setup that you guys had. It looked like it was planned for months already. It looked like it was a proper performance piece. So now onto the medley that you guys sang. Why did you choose a Boere Yiddish medley?
So the song choice came about when Carien, we were talking about which song we should do, and she said, let's pick something that's appropriate for the time that we're going through, for lockdown, a song of hope. And then she said, you know what, there are so many Jewish people in this building and in the area we live in. Why don't you teach me a Yiddish song? Let's do a little medley with some Yiddish and Afrikaans and English. And so I thought, okay, let's start with, I realized that Carien plays a guitar, and let's bring that link in. So I picked Tumbalalaika because number one, it's a very easy song to learn quickly, and we did this very last minute. And a balalaika is a string instrument, a Russian instrument crossing between a banjo, mandolin, ukulele. So we picked that one. And the words in that song, Spielbalalaika Freilach soll sein, which means when you play the balalaika, when you play music, you're going to be happy. We're all going to be happy. So that was like, I thought, a beautiful song to sing. Then I thought, okay, we're on the roof. We're going to be singing on the roof. Jewish connection, Fiddler on the Roof, which is also a connection to my mom, my late mom, because her final performance before she passed away in 1979 was as Golda in Fiddler on the Roof at the Nico Milan, which is now Artscape. And I thought, let's do something from Fiddler on the Roof. And I thought of To Life, L'chaim, because it's such a meaningful song in this period of time, because to life, L'chaim, to health, to the future, to hoping that we're all healthy, that we can get through this COVID. And Karen is a very fast learner, I have to tell you. The Yiddish came really quickly. She's like so professional and amazing. And then she added in her song, her Afrikaans song, Afrikaners as Plesierig, which is such a joyful, just a beautiful concept. So that was our medley choice.
I come from quite a mixed Jewish Afrikaans background, so hearing that Buddha Yiddish medley was so meaningful, and it was really just so, it was light, you know, it was a light-hearted, but also very enjoyable and powerful performance. So it's great hearing, you know, what it meant to you guys and why you mixed some of the songs. So what would you say about how your Judaism and your musical life are intertwined?
So very interestingly, I grew up going to a lot of Yiddish concerts because my mom performed in it. My older sister, Nava, who was 8 years senior, performed in some of her concerts, and she took on a lot of the Yiddishkeit role before me. I kind of gravitated towards the pop and the children's music and the jazz genre, and then slowly got more into the Yiddishkeit music of late being in 2010. So my mom had passed away, my sister had passed away, and there was a Yiddish song festival in Cape Town soon after I arrived to come back to live here. And Aviva Pelham had said to me, Zola, you must come and sing now because your sister's not here, your mother's not here. We need you to be performing in Yiddish in our performance. And at first I'm like, oh, I've never done that. Now I have to learn Yiddish. And so I did it because of the legacy. And that's when my real Jewishkeit Yiddish music came back into play. In America, I had taught a lot of young kids in Jewish preschools. And of course, I introduced all the Jewish holiday songs, and I wrote a lot of new songs for the little Jewish kids to be singing. But I didn't do the Yiddish part. So there was Jewish stuff in my music always, mostly for educational purposes for others, not necessarily for my own recordings of my songwriting and performance in clubs and things. But after this Yiddish festival, I also, during the festival, I sang one of the songs that my mother sang and made famous. And my mother's brother, Leib, was a very well-known poet and songwriter in Poland, in the ghetto. Unfortunately, he died in the concentration camps. But many of his songs are still sung today by other people. They're covered by many performers. So there's that Yiddishkeit. And slowly, I've been adding it to my repertoire when I do performances. A lot of the extra Yiddish songs, some my uncle wrote, some my mother performed, and some that other people have written, like Molly Pickon, etc. Last year, I wrote my own first Yiddish song. It's a combination English and Yiddish that I produced, and it was also used for the Holocaust Remembrance Day on Yom HaShoah, and in the movie, the documentary and the Zoom session that they did, the Cape Town and Johannesburg Holocaust organizations. So I've started. I haven't done a full Yiddish song, just half English, half Yiddish. I'm slow. It's a lot to learn. And brechen die Zähne. I'm breaking my teeth, but I'm trying.
Listening to you answer these questions is so entertaining. You are such a great, honestly, you're such a great personality, even through a laptop screen. Thank you. It's really great listening to all of your answers.
Thank you.
And just listening to the history of all of that Yiddish, you know, it's my grandparents passed away when I was very young. And I only recently learned that in my grandfather's house, mostly they only spoke Yiddish. And I had no idea. And it was just so, you know, it's so interesting because it's such a sort of lost part of our community, but it still plays such a big unknown role, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I wanted to hop into the next question. What was the response like from the community in real time when you guys were performing? I know some people were hanging out of their windows and listening. So what was the response like in real time when you were performing? And what was the response on social media once the performance had ended, but you know, the video was still up?
So when we performed on the roof, clearly we had a lot of the neighbors listening and hanging out windows and I guess singing along and clapping along in various parts. It was very, very cool. After that, Karen's partner had sent out a little snippet on WhatsApp, which is the snippet that you saw. The snippet went out to a WhatsApp group in our building for those elderly that couldn't obviously get onto the roof and see. And somehow it got leaked onto social media. Well, within hours, minutes, days, weeks, this thing exploded. The WhatsApp little snippet had gone all around the world. I was getting WhatsApp messages from Israel, from London, from Perth, from Sydney, from Hawaii. There's a cousin in Hawaii. Everybody seemed to have seen this. Then it was on Facebook being passed from group to group to group. At one point, I noticed that the clip had 50,000 views within like 3 days. And that was just on one social media group on Facebook. It was placed on a couple of groups. One group had 10,000, one group had 7. The one group, I think it was Simon Anstey's post from High Radio. He got over 50,000 in just like a matter of 3 days. It was remarkable. People stopped me. I guess my red hair, I mean, the community knows me. A lot of people know me because of performances I've done. But on the beachfront, when we were walking on the promenade or in the supermarket, are you the one that sang with Karen Zoid? And I said, yes, yes. So strangers, everybody just so blown away by, I guess, the enjoyment and the fun of the combination that it was this Jewish girl, this Afrikaans girl, and what we did. And this is all thanks to Karen. She did this. She got the ball rolling.
I love it. I love that you guys got such a phenomenal response because it deserved a phenomenal response. It was so happy. You know, it really was just something musical and lighthearted and joyful to watch. Even for me, I mean, I didn't know it was happening live, but as soon as I saw it on Facebook, you know, it brings a smile and a bit of warmth in this very movie-like time that we're in. Amazing. That's all of my questions. I think you were the most entertaining interview I've done in like a week. It's so, I mean, especially, you know, for me personally, being part of the Hertzler Vocal Ensemble for many years, Yiddish songs were always there. You know,
Yes.
it was such a, so hearing Yiddish songs, it's a very unique taste in music, but it's like klezmer music. If it catches you, it catches you. There's no escaping it.
And for you, it's thanks to Ivor. I mean, Ivor brings it all into the school. Bless the man.
For years, we were convinced we were related. Is there anything you feel like you haven't touched on that you want to say? Because I've asked all my questions. Yeah.
What can I say in closing? It's been a fabulous, fabulous experience to do this with Karen. She is such a darling of a person. She's an absolute mensch, Eshet Chayal. She's like remarkable. I thank her for that experience. And I just hope everybody going forward, just keep making music, keep singing, and keep yourself well and safe. and just look after yourself. And I will be around to entertain as long as I possibly can. I will be coming to a home near yours soon, or in yours. And thank you for asking us to do this.
No, it's honestly, if anything, I'm jealous because next time I expect to be invited to sing with you guys, you know?
Okay, it's a deal.
So, Zola, thank you so much for your time. It's so appreciated. And it was so great communicating with you. And hopefully when all of this drama is over, we'll be able to meet face to face one day.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm sitting 2 meters away from Zola, and we're going to do a Boere Yiddish medley for you. Tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalaika, tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalaika, tumbalalaika, spielbalalaika, tumbalalaika, vrijdag zal zijn. Tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalaika, tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalaika, tumbalalaika, spielbalalaika, spielbalalaika, vrijdag zal zijn. To life, l'chaim, 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 to life. If you are lucky, then Monday was no worse than Sunday was. Sing l'chaim to life.